Good afternoon. My name is Tony Dean. I write for Hockey Buzz. Um, you can follow me on Twitter at Tony Dean THW. Um, what I wanted to do uh, is provide other mediums of uh, trying to get the word out about the Wild Hockey Buzz community. Because ultimately, I believe that my writing there, I'm just a catalyst. If you want information, you're going to go to Michael Russo, or you're going to go to Chad Graff, or you're going to seek out the news um, from the mainstream media. What I'm trying to do, and what I've tried to do this past year, writing for Hockey Buzz, is just provide content that provokes thought, that incites conversation, that serves the the Minnesota Wild fans who want to engage, and they want to give their ideas and thoughts and take on what's taking place with the team, the direction, what should take place next. This is probably the best time um, to be a Minnesota Wild fan, and what I've tried to work on doing is focusing um, a community of people to engage in a conversation. So anybody that has stopped by Hockey Buzz, what you'll learn from me is that um, I deal specifically in diagnosing, digesting what's taking place, and providing my opinion. Um, I don't claim to have sources. I don't attempt to generate rumors, because that's not what I do. What I attempt to do is represent the Wild Hockey Buzz community all over the internet. I try to promote um, the growth and the opportunity for people to come have a place where they can give their take on what's taking place with the Wild, and they can go back and forth with other fans. They can be heard. They can participate. You know, uh, whenever I promote or self promote, which I tend to do a lot when I release one of my um, articles, blogs, you know, content, whatever you want to call it. Um, I'm not doing that to prove how important I feel like I am. I'm doing that so that maybe I generate more people to come to the community, to participate, to gain a bigger uh, following for the Minnesota Wild on Hockey Buzz. Anybody that's been to the site, you can see the original 6 teams or the Canadian teams. Their fan bases are just unbelievable. They're crazy. But what I've come to learn about the Minnesota Wild fans is they're all over the map. They just want to go to the games. They want to watch it on TV. They don't engage in the huge conversations, or they don't regular any certain site. They tend to track the headlines, whether it be Google, or wherever you get Twitter, Facebook. Um, there's certain places, hockey futures boards. The Wild community there is pretty strong. I think it's a smart community. A lot of that is based on prospects, but they talk about the Wild in general. What I'd like to do is I'd like to just provide an opportunity for Wild fans to get to somewhere, and then be able to check in, frequent the site, have some sort of fellowship with their fellow fans, and you know engage in discussion about hockey. I mean, I think that that's something that is universal, and we all kind of have in common. If I've come into contact with you over the past 2 or 3 years that I've been writing about hockey. I attended the scrimmage in Edina on Friday at Braemar. Um, you know, the greatest takeaway from that is just how deep and how diverse the defenseman group is for the Minnesota Wild in their prospect pipeline. That the top three are Gustav Olofsson, Matthew Dumba, and Christian Folin. But beyond those guys, the next tier of guys are pretty interesting group. You have Carson Soucy, you have Dylan Labe, you have the recently signed Guillaume Jelinas, um, and then at the NCAA level, you have guys like John Drager, you have Nolan DeJong, you have Nick Seeler. So currently, this group of defensive prospects is probably the deepest in team history, um, which is really a testament to Chuck Fletcher and Brent Flair on what they chose to make a priority, and that was um, acquiring and stockpiling young defensemen that have an NHL ceiling. I think what we've seen over the past 3 or 4 years is the most sought after premium asset is going to be an NHL ceiling, um, nearly NHL ready defenseman. And that's the thing that moves assets. That's the thing that drives trades and controls the market. So you look at guys like PK Subban or Ryan McDonough, or this next group of 20 somethings that are already superstars. At a certain point, they all have been rumored or included in deals. McDonough came over from Montreal to New York in what was a major package, and he was the center of that package. So even if every kid in this group doesn't end up in the Excel Center in a Wild jersey because you have a limited number of spots, it doesn't mean that they're not important and valuable to the Minnesota Wild. The group that'll end up in Iowa next year playing for the Baby Wild will be a very strong, exciting, um, aggressive group. I foresee the top pairing there being Matthew Dumba and Gustav Olofsson. Guillaume Jelinas is going to be in that mix. Um, they're not returning their three major defenders, which would be Tyler Kuma, Steve Camper, and Connolly, who was traded. So, I mean, it's going to be a wholesale change with that group. Kyle Medved will probably be back. He's just a mountain of a kid. I think he's 6'7", 6'8". That group down there is going to be fun to watch, and they're going to provide help, which wasn't there last year. Specifically at the scrimmage, I wrote about it. I think Gustav Olofsson was extremely impressive because what we knew about him. So he's a big kid. He's kind of an under the radar kid. He was a second round pick last year. He's a kid that he could continue to grow and end up huge. His dad is 6'8". He's 6'4" right now, I believe, just a little bit, like right around 200 some pounds. But I was extremely impressed with the way that he used his body to eliminate opponents in the defensive end. He was smothering. He didn't give opportunities. Being that big but being able to skate is such a great opportunity for you to eliminate offense and opportunities for the opposing team. And what he showed is, not only is he capable of eliminating the opponent's offense, but he's also able to carry the puck, and he's extremely agile and athletic. A lot of what made Jonas Brodin so special that first year was his ability to, do subtle things and avoid hits and be calm and, while under fire, be able to possess the puck and move it out of the zone. And I got some glimpses of that on Friday from Olofsson, who, just so happened to outshine Matthew Dumba a little bit. And I think that, that's not to take anything away from Matthew Dumba. I think Matthew Dumba was obviously the most high-profile player at the scrimmage on Friday. I expect Matthew Dumba to try to take over tonight and have some signature moments because, that's a kid that still wants to make the NHL roster and um, begin his NHL career this year. I think he would definitely handle going to the AHL well, like he handled going to the WHL after having his first year activated. And I mean, he was tremendous in Portland with regard to being disappointed about not being able to stick with the NHL club and helping that team. And he ended up um, eclipsing some of their more prominent NHL prospects on that team. Derek Pouliot specifically. He's a Pittsburgh Penguins prospect. So I look for Dumba to flash tonight. I think at the Excel, with the fans there, he's going to look to make moments. On Friday, a lot of it was largely he was being shadowed, and it was a game of keep away. He didn't get many opportunities, and he didn't force anything. I think that's what a kid that has dynamic talent like that, you don't want him to make mistakes trying to force something to be something it's not. And then when he doesn't do anything dynamic, well, then you're like, where's the thing that we're looking forward to? Where's the highlight reel? Um, the other kid is Christian Folin. I've written a ton about him. Obviously, I was a huge advocate of the Minnesota Wild pursuing him. After he signed here, I think the gravity of him signing here kind of set in. This is a top NCAA free agent kid. This is a kid that profiles to be mostly a stay-at-home, but he is skilled. He is big. He is strong, and I think he has an NHL-ready body. I think you look around the league, and the slowest developing prospect besides goalies is stay-at-home defensive defenders. Guys that are going to be physical presences. Usually, they take longer to get their grown man strength or to be physically capable of competing in the NHL. And I think when you get a kid like Folin, who I believe he'll be able to step in this first year, that's a major get. All you have to do is look at the contract that Clayton Stoner got in Anaheim to see that having somebody that's a physical presence, having somebody to stay at home while you have your possession driving, maybe smaller defensemen who focus a little more on the offensive aspects, or who might not be able to move bodies like they do in Anaheim, like we do here. I mean, just honestly, I think people don't give Christian Folin enough credit for how skilled he is, despite his size and the fact that he's probably going to focus for his first at least 2 or 3 years specifically on being a stay-at-home and the rugged aspects of being a defenseman in his own zone. But this is a guy that can separate defenders from the puck. He can carry the puck. He can make just a strong lead pass. Strong breakout passes. If you give him an opportunity to wind up, he has a nasty strong shot. He's not super opportunistic, which kind of doesn't allow him to flash or jump off the page at people, which on Friday that was kind of the case. One of the things I noticed though on Friday is he was looking to impose his will physically on the other prospects, and I think that has a lot to do with what he's going to do in Minnesota this year, and that'll be something to look forward to. I just think his combination of size and skill right now, along with him being more physically ready, gives him a better shot to make the roster than Matthew Dumba or Gustav Olofsson. Obviously, I believe that Olofsson was the most impressive of the Wild's prospects on Friday. It'll be interesting to see tonight what takes place. I would look for Matthew Dumba to try to make a couple signature moments, or show that he can be dynamic. Because I know that he feels the pressure. It was interesting that the secondary group of prospects there, was pretty impressive on defense. Carson Soucy, uh, Louis Belpedio. Louis Belpedio was the third round pick from this year. He was the captain of the national development team for the United States. Um, and what I got from him is he is a confident kid. He was aggressive. He played smart. He was all over the ice. I was really really impressed with him on Friday. Um, he didn't he didn't do anything just crazy, but he was just always involved in the plays. He threw his weight around. Um, he pinched in. He moved the puck. He's going to be a kid that goes to Miami of Ohio, and I can almost guarantee he's going to end up being their captain. He's going to be a point generator. He's going to be one of those kids that's just always going to overachieve. Whether he makes the NHL level or not, I don't know, but he's always going to be a kid that people trust, coaches trust, because you know what type of effort you're going to get out of him. Um, I think um, with Susie, he's shown that he's a talented kid, and I was impressed that he was able to handle the puck and carry the puck as well as he did. Um, the other kids there, Guillaume Jelinas, who is a French Canadian kid, and he is 5'9", so he's a little smaller. He had 92 points last year in Canadian juniors for Val d'Or, and a lot of that has been attributed to him playing on a line and playing significant minutes with Anthony Mantha and a couple other top prospects. But um, what we saw on Friday is that he's an aggressive kid. I mean, he's looking to hit you. He is looking to he's looking to change the tide. Um, he's a kid. They dumped it for him near the sideboards at the point, and he took a wrister and put it in the top corner. And it was a quick release, and it just shows. Maybe he doesn't generate 92 points or anything crazy like that at the AHL level at next year, but for the Baby Wild, he's going to be a kid that plays aggressive, that looks for opportunities. He's going to hit people. He's going to be a fun player to watch. I guarantee the Wild fans in Des Moines are going to enjoy their blue line next year, which will probably feature Dumba and Olofsson as the top pairing, and then you'll have Jelinas probably matched up with maybe a bigger defender. I don't know, Medbeck or somebody else. Um, the Dylan Labe, interesting prospect. He played a little bit at in Des Moines at the end of the year. He's a Canadian junior. He's only 19, so he'll be headed back. He's a lanky kid. He can play in both ends. He was okay on Friday. The offensive prospects, I tweeted about it a little bit, and the three players that I think need to rebound and show a little more tonight: Michael Karanen, Zach Phillips, and Alex Tuch. Obviously, with Tuch, he is a kid, so he's 18 years old. One of the things I was able to glean from all of the draft coverage and trying to figure out about what type of player Alex Tuch is. Corey Pronman of ESPN and the Hockey Prospectus, I think, he mentioned that Tuch is not a player that's going to carry it. He's not going to carry the puck. He's not going to be a guy that can generate his own shot a ton. And I think in trying to figure out what type of player Alex Tuch is, I think he compares very similarly to Charlie Coyle. And I don't think that's just because we see Coyle and we have Coyle here. I think Tuch is a guy that maybe he doesn't carry the puck and maybe he doesn't profile as a sniper, but his ability to use his size and physicality in and around the net in a game in general, I mean that's going to be a dominating presence. And hopefully next year at Boston College he'll be playing with Adam Gilmore, another Wild prospect, maybe on the second or third line. um, and it'll give him a good opportunity. Michael Karanen is a player that we signed from the Finnish leagues. He is a guy that was their leading scorer over there. He's a 24-year-old. Some have described him as a late developer. Um, if you Google Michael Karanen, you see nothing but YouTube highlights of him dangling, scoring goals, a little bit of hitting. You see a guy that's 6'1", 170 some pounds, so he's slight of stature. Um, he he looked like a guy that was trying to make some moments and break out, and he was stifled, and he was stifled by kids on Friday. So, you know, not to put him down, or not to take one scrimmage and decide about a player, but if he has any shot at making the Minnesota Wild out of training camp this year, he's going to have to adjust his game to the smaller surface. He's going to have to look at ways to free himself up, and he's going to have to apply some of the stuff that he learns very quickly. Otherwise, he could be a guy that um, contributes to the Baby Wild in Des Moines, which I think would be perfectly fine because that's what they need. They need scoring. They need players that can drive the possession and create offense. The other thing I think Michael Russo mentioned that initially he had been a guy that had talked about not wanting to play in the AHL, and now he's more open to it. The thing that was stark to me is that he wasn't able to out maneuver and handle around the Wild's prospects. Maybe the Wild has top tier defensive prospects, which I don't think is too far off. But if you're coming from playing in men's leagues across the pond and dominating and generating as a leading scorer, and then you're being stifled by kids in a prospect scrimmage, I think it creates a little bit of doubt on whether you're going to be able to win a roster spot, come the fall. And the other one is Zach Phillips. Zach Phillips is the guy that is under the microscope. Whenever you're a first round draft pick and your ceiling becomes in doubt with regard to whether you're going to make the NHL at all, whether what role you'll serve in the NHL. I think a lot of people look to you for indicators of has he figured it out? Is there a change? Should we expect something other than what we've received from him? And so on Friday, they had him match up with Curtis Gabriel. And Curtis Gabriel is just a dynamic physical presence, just a fun player, all energy. You could tell the opposing team had to make sure they knew where he was at all times. So I spent most of my time watching Curtis Gabriel and didn't notice much from Phillips. And Phillips, maybe he's destined to become just a playmaker where, the stuff that he doesn't always get the credit, or, you don't notice some of the subtle things, but, this is a make it or break it type of year for his prospect status. I kind of looked for him to be more aggressive or try to accomplish more, and maybe that comes tonight. But thus far, I think Phillips has shown an ability to do certain things that get you to the NHL. And then with regard to his total package, it's tough because, his vision and stick handling and playmaking, you know, those are things that had him stand out to everybody, and that's why he got drafted in the first round. But then, he struggled with skating, and the higher you get in hockey, if you can't skate enough to compete, then it doesn't matter what playmaking skills you have, because you're not going to possess the puck. You're going to miss windows. The windows get tighter. The windows of opportunity. I mean, so it comes a certain point where will the Wild move on from this kid? And ultimately I think we all root for Zach Phillips to make it. We want that Brent Burns trade to be a return that's more respectable. You don't want to wonder what if we'd taken this kid instead of this kid. And we've also seen too, in St. John with the Sea Dogs, Phillips was paired up with Coyle, and they're extremely productive. I mean, they messed around and won a Memorial Cup there. So this is a kid that has a pedigree of scoring and playing against some of the top prospects in the world. Now it's taking that next step forward in his career. This evening, I think what I'll do is I'll tweet out probably my section, where I'm at. If people want to come meet with me or talk some hockey, I willingly, I openly hope that takes place. I had hoped on Friday to meet some more people. I was sitting, a row behind Don Lucia, and I got to talk a little bit of hockey with him, and I got to congratulate him on keeping together his team. And he was gracious. He's Minnesota hockey royalty. And he handles it really, really well. He was really, really good with everybody that talked to him, and he was there to see his kid. His kid looks like a year of development has made him a smarter player, a stronger player. I think Mario Lucia is going to score a bunch of goals at Notre Dame, and he's going to play important minutes, especially now that he's going to be elevated to a more prominent role with more ice time and some more playoff or power play opportunities. So tonight I'll tweet out where I'm at, and hopefully if anybody sees this or anybody sees my tweet, they come and see me and they say hi. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to set up and keep building the Wild Hockey Buzz community throughout this second season. This was my first season at Hockey Buzz. Eklund provided me just a tremendous opportunity for my writing to be seen. Last month, I generated 74,000 unique views, which was my most successful, most impressive month. I mean, it was crazy. It's humbling. All I ever try to do is provide, my thoughts and ideas. Whether they hit the mark, whether people think they're off. I like to just be a catalyst for thought and hockey conversation between us, because I think that sometimes people can try to not include you or try to minimize your ability to know stuff about hockey, which, who are they to say? Who am I to say? I'm never going to tell somebody that I'm smart and they're stupid. That's not my personality. That's not how I conduct myself. So you can follow me on Twitter at Tony Dean THW. Please, if you want to participate in Hockey Buzz, sign up. It's free. The registration's simple. Email address. Come give your thoughts. Go back and forth with our regulars. The website is hockeybuzz.com. You can follow me on Google+. I have a YouTube where I'll look to link up and post my webcasts or the show here. I'll open it up probably for like Google Hangouts and stuff like that going forward if that's what people want to do. Ultimately, provide me with feedback. You like what I do, you don't like what I do, you wish I did this more. I'm just trying to make sure that I continue to build what has been a very strong but limited community at Hockey Buzz, going towards this next season, which I think will be maybe the most exciting season in team history because of what they've done to build the brand and improve the team. Thank you. Bye.